In this video, I'm going to cover the top AI mistakes that business owners are currently making. AI has completely changed my entire business. Just over the past 3 weeks, I've managed to build an e-commerce store that's done over $15,000 in sales entirely with AI. I've created an AI CFO that can audit all of my financials. I've even created chatbots in Slack that my team can actually use and call upon to give them a ton of insights. The biggest mistake that I see companies make is they try to hire an expert, like a developer or a self-proclaimed AI expert, to come in and teach AI to their entire company. This is the wrong approach. What we really want to do is we want a leader within the company, which is you, to try to teach and create a bottoms-up culture where the employees of the company start using it. So think about it. If you're just the founder using AI, sure, you might come 100 times more effective. But think about it, if there's 20 employees also using it, sharing ideas, suddenly they're 10,000 times more effective because it creates a culture and it starts to accelerate and everyone starts sharing learnings from each other, spinning off agents that can do all kinds of tasks. But the truth is that it's never going to get adopted until you do it. Companies always follow the leader. If you're someone that needs to hire an AI expert, give a ton of permission to do a bunch of things, then it's never going to get adopted. You need to create a culture where every single week you get together with the key employees and you celebrate the wins of AI adoption. You, as the founder, also need to put in guardrails such as, what do we do about this data? What about we do about budgets? All of this kind of stuff before you can actually get them to safely and confidently adopt it. Now, here's the issue. How do you do that without you yourself as the founder knowing things? Typically, whenever I give business advice to founders that come to me, I always try to identify the one key thing that's going to 10x their business. And usually it's something like Facebook ads or marketing or just doubling down on their existing acquisition channel. I am very confident that almost every single founder, the single highest leverage thing that they could learn right now is AI. It's over Facebook ads. It's over product development even, because things like Facebook ads and product are now a subcategory, a sub-skill of AI. AI now amplifies all those skills so much that if we learn AI first, we can be far more effective than someone that doesn't. The next mistake that I see business owners make is they don't start with a goal in mind. Businesses are just a series of inputs and outputs. If you think about every single department, let's take product, they have a series of how to brief in products, how to create the product, then it becomes an output of a product, then it gets sent to marketing, and then they have a series of like, how do I take photos of this? How do I do this? And it keeps going until finance reports on the profit and loss statement and tells you how much money you've made, and every single thing can be mapped out to that beginning initial prompt. Now, if we map that entire process out on a board and we look at both what are the inputs, outputs, but also what are the objectives and the KPIs that each of our employees actually have in this subsection, it'll give us the clear places that we should actually be applying AI. Most business owners, what they're doing is they're downloading something like Claude, and then they're going, wow, this is a great copywriting tool. Let's go and let's start writing some emails for this. And then going, oh, the emails are okay. Yeah, it sped us up. That's great. We're just going to use this from now on. That is not what we should do. We should be looking and benchmarking our email efficiency. We should be looking at our total emails that we can actually write. We want to be looking at the cost of that department. And then we want to build a hypothesis around it that if I incorporate AI to my emails, by this process, my KPIs will improve in this way. Let me give you another example. Let's say we're taking Facebook ad creation. When we're looking at the briefing process, the reaching out to creators, the actual shooting, the editing, and the reporting on the Facebook ads, we want a clear objective that AI is going to come in and improve our cost per creative. So the amount we actually have to spend per creative. Let's say we want to double the volume at half the cost. Now we have these clear KPIs that AI needs to go and solve. The next mistake that business owners really make is they either go way too advanced with their tools or way too simple. And this fits into what we were talking about before, but I constantly wanted to create an AI CFO. I was just like, this is really, really important. There's so much data there. There's so many mistakes are made from here. How do I get AI to fact check my existing finance employees? Now, I tried ChatGPT. I even tried all of these AI specialist spreadsheet tools and whatnot, but nothing could handle the amount of data that was going through these businesses because they are quite large. So what I ended up doing is I finally found that actually running running through Claude Code and actually locally on the device using Excel was far, far better. But the way that I found this out was not instantly going to Claude Code, which is a slightly more advanced compared to something like just an interface like ChatGPT. I tested the simplest solution first, realized that it failed, tested it thoroughly, and then I went to the next simplest. Now, what simple might mean for you might actually already just mean that it's in your tech stack. You might already have this actual tool that you're using. Say you're using Google Drive. So therefore you want to just try, can I use the Gemini extension on these kind of things? And then you go, okay, no, this doesn't work. So now I need something more robust. Now let's try something like Claude Code. Now this might seem counterintuitive, but when you're first getting started out, having multiple tools for different things based on where the data actually is not necessarily a bad thing. What it does mean though, is that you're probably going to have to stitch them together, which creates another complication. But that being said, we want to keep it as simple as possible because that will allow easy team adoption, which again is the key to getting the most leverage out of AI. Now, the next mistake is so obvious and it is so frustrating. I see a bunch of business owners, CEOs, founders, even people with just no teams, just getting started, and they go, I tested AI, it doesn't work. And then I'm like, how did you actually test it? And they're like, I sent this one message and look at the response it gave me. That is absolutely ludicrous. AI is another employee. We need to train the employee. We need to figure out how they like to work. We need to feed them the right data. And until then, we cannot justify or say that it is not better than an existing person or an employee. Sure, the employee might be at a low rate. It might be a customer service agent or someone that we can hire remotely, but that doesn't mean that they are going to be more efficient and cheaper long-term. And we need to give AI a chance because once all this gets stitched together, that's when the compound effect happens. The main mental model that we need here is, let's say we have an employee that's a copywriter. Now, I completely disagree with the notion that AI is going to replace all jobs. I need a copywriter in my team still, but I need a copywriter that understands AI. So just assume that we've got this copywriter that is paid $100,000 a year. They are making, let's say, $1 million in revenue for the business to make sure that they're actually profitable within the business. Our goal is to turn this copywriter into a $10 million a year copywriter. We actually want to look at AI through the lens of revenue expansion rather than just cutting costs. But this is the thing. If I'm talking about taking a copywriter from $1 million to $10 million of value, and then I'm spending 2 hours on my AI tool to be like, wow, this doesn't work. Of course it's not going to work like that. You're trying to 10x the value. You're trying to create an extra $9 million of incremental value to the company. Why would that take 2 hours? The key here is just constantly iterate, create the framework to be celebrated in the company, break through hurdles together within the team, and just stick with one task until you figured it out. Too many people are running 15 different terminals, 5 different tools all at the same time, trying to figure things out, and then the output's terrible. Just like go from, I have this objective to fix this KPI, and I'm going to stick with this until it does that. The next mistake that I see business owners make is they don't respect data hygiene. Now, a lot of people are either feeding it way too much data or not enough. Now, the key here is that LLMs have a context window. So if you give it way too much, it's going, and you might have done this before, you created this giant, huge chat with random things about cooking, but then also your running program and then asking it business questions, and it's just like has no idea what's going on. That's probably way too much. Now, a lot of other people, they're doing really short prompts with zero context as well and expecting it to solve their business problems, which is just not how this works. Now, the key here is, let's say you've already got a big company and you've got some really sensitive stuff. What you want to do is you want to sandbox your data. Now, there's a couple of ways that we can do this. We could buy a new laptop. A lot of people are buying Mac Minis. We can use a VPS. So it is slightly more technical. If you're not technical, I wouldn't be doing that. Remember, everything that I'm teaching you in this video, you can copy my transcript and you could go, what does Davey mean by this? When I get stuck in AI, I am just constantly asking questions. But let's just say that you want to go to AI right now and explain your situation and say, how do I ensure security? Also give it the data that you actually need to get the answer. You're going to get a really good response. Now, the way that I've approached this is I've sandboxed. I've created a laptop that I can feed it the data that I'm actually comfortable with it having. And then I've slowly progressed over time with giving it more and more permission, because we don't want to give it all and then it hallucinates, or you do something really stupid and everything breaks. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have constant backups, and you even redact information that you really, really need. Now, here's my key thing and my key lesson around data and how to get the most out of AI is you want to create consistent loops of new data injection for certain tasks. So for example, let's say we want to create a Facebook ad briefing bot where it gives you all of the best briefs. It's a creative strategist. Let's say we give it all of our top performing ads that have worked. We give it our website. We just give it a bunch of information. Maybe we give it customer service tickets redacted about our brand itself. And then we go, can you write a Facebook ad for this? And then it gives you some really, really good ads and you're really excited. And then what's it going to do next week? Next week, it's going to write the exact same ads because it's got no new data. So what you need to do is you need to both keep injecting what is working for you, but you also want it to look broader. Now, the Facebook ads library at current speaking is public at the moment. And then you can sort by impressions, right? You've got the top performing ads for every single brand sitting at the top. So what we need to do is we can create a scraper. And now a lot of people have actually used certain APIs and complex things to actually access Facebook ads and whatnot. I'm a little bit scared about that. They've just recently purchased Menace at this time, meaning that I want to keep things not logged in because I don't want my Facebook ad account is banned. Lucky it is public, so you can create a Facebook ad scraper to look at adjacent niches, what is currently performing. Then that can feed in the data for you. Now you've got all of the top performing ads on Facebook as a whole, plus you've got your Facebook ads. And now this is how we create this dynamic flywheel. It will automatically grab the top performers and then automatically create what your ad should be next week. So in short, create automations to make sure that your data is constantly changing and run regular scheduled automations to make sure that the outputs that you're getting are also different. If you like today's video, I've created this really advanced AI roadmap for e-commerce brands about what I think is the most important, impactful AI things that you could actually roll out in your company. It's completely free. Just go sign up and I'll send you what I think you should be rolling out using AI.